Hey guys, what's going on? In the last video, I brought you the top 5 best American cars for starter enthusiasts. So now, we're going to talk about best imported cars for new enthusiasts. And I'm just going to give it a broad term. I'm just going to give it the broad term of imported, because I'm talking basically any Asian imported car, like JDM cars, KDM cars, what have you. So, again, I apologize to everybody who wants exact, numbers and statistics and what have you, but I kind of just like to make these on the fly, just because it just turns out better, I guess, than me doing a whole bunch of research and writing a script and everything and what have you. So, my top 5 for starter cars for enthusiasts. First thing I'm going to start off with is the early 2000s Honda Accord. I forget the exact generation, but it's like 1999 through like 2005 or something. Whether it be the 4-cylinder or the V6, great cars. The V6 obviously has quite a bit more get to it than the 4-cylinder does. But for a starting car enthusiast, I wouldn't worry too much about how fast an Accord goes. And plus, either way, if you get the V6 or the V8, not the V8, the inline 4 or the V6, regardless of which one you get, as a car guy, you're probably going to modify it. It's a Honda. You can beat the crap out of it. You can mod it to the moon. And it can handle it. I don't know how good the stock motor in the 4-cylinder Accord is for modding purposes. But I do know that the V6 does have a little bit of get to it, so there's that. I personally would recommend the V6 over the inline 4, just because if you haven't figured it out already, I prefer cars with V6s to V8s and inline 4s, just because I feel like they're a perfect combination of both. They make decent mid-level power. They get somewhat decent gas mileage for the most part. They sound pretty good. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of Hondas on this list. So, number 4 is going to be the Honda Civic EK hatch. Fantastic looking cars, fantastic modding platform with said cars. Just in general, great cars. Again, just like the Accord, you can run it to the moon and it never really give you any problems. So I'm a little tired. But yeah, you can run it to the moon and it'll almost never die on you. They're great modding platforms if you put a K series or a B series or what have you in it. I'm not sure what engines they come with. And I apologize for being uninformed on these things about these cars, because I've never personally driven many of them. I've done the research on how much people enjoy them and how reliable they are, and that's mostly what I go off of based on how I run the video, I guess. But anyway, yeah, the EK hatch, nice looking car. run it to the moon. Great modding platform. And I mean, in my opinion, there is no better Civic than the EK hatch, or even to extend that, the EG hatch. Just the Civic hatches in general, specifically those two, in my opinion, you can't get much better of a Honda than those two. But all of these are going to be JDM cars except for one. Just a heads up. Because I have high praise for the car on the top of this list. And that's why I said imports instead of JDM. Because the car on the top of this list is not JDM. The car on the top of this list is actually, if I'm remembering correctly, KDM. But anyway, number 3 goes to, in my opinion, the 7th gen Toyota Celica. You know, the early 2000s one, the one that I personally own. I am a little bit biased, but they are fun, spunky little cars. They get insanely good gas mileage. Like, I kid you not, I drove 120 miles yesterday and didn't even use half of a quarter of a tank. If you get the GT, like the one that I have, you're not going to be doing much. But if you get the GTS, you can actually build a somewhat decent platform on it. I haven't seen too many people try to build them, but the ones that I have seen built are very cool. Hey, there's a built one right there, actually, talking about it. Yellow 7th gen Celica TRD wing. Yeah, speaking of that, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, great, fun little cars. The only problems that are notorious for those cars are oil pumps, and even then, you don't really have to worry about that. Surprisingly, they're actually a very, very smooth ride. There are very few negative things that I can say about my Toyota Celica. And mine has over 200,000 miles on it. So imagine you get one with like 100,000 on it. That car will run you till the end of time, and you will enjoy every second about it. So for number 2, I guarantee everybody watching knew this was coming. The Nissan 350Z. The Nissan 350Z comes stock with, I think, 268, 270 something horsepower. A very respectable horsepower number for somebody just getting into cars. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, they're unsafe and da-da-da-da-da. They're not exactly unsafe cars as long as you learn how to control it before you do anything stupid in it. I'm not your mom and I'm not the police. So I'm not going to say, oh, never break the law, never do this, never do that. Listen, I have fun in my car. I do stupid shit in my car. But there's a time and place for everything. And I've learned my car through and through. I know basically every little mannerism about my car. If you're going to hop into a 350Z, I highly recommend that you at least learn every little detail you can while driving it, so that if you do decide to do something stupid or to have a little fun in it, there's a less likely chance that other 350Z owners' insurance premiums will go up. Yeah, we'll put it that way. If you know, you know. But rear wheel drive, almost 300 horsepower, relatively reliable as long as you don't mess around with the engine too much, which I am going to give a heads up. The early 350Zs don't even try to make horsepower with them. Those engines do not handle horsepower well. You're better off just sticking with around 300. You know, add a cold air intake, maybe an exhaust. Get yourself to around that 300 number and just enjoy it. So this number one spot is why I couldn't say JDM. At the number one spot is the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Whether it be the 3.8 V6 or the 2.0 turbo, I see them as honestly the best bang for your buck car you can get for around $10,000. They have around 300 horsepower. The 3.8s actually have around 350. The 2.0s have like 310 or something. But solid horsepower numbers from those Hyundai Genesis. Immaculate interiors as far as $10,000 cars go. Like, I would argue the best interior that you can get for around that price in somewhat of a sporty performance car. Don't take my whole word for that. But as far as I've seen, no car has a better interior for around $10,000 that's a sports/performance car that is around $10,000. I cannot find one. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, rear wheel drive, you can get them in automatic or manual. The 2.0 turbos and the 3.8s get very respectable gas mileage. They're relatively quick cars. They're pretty light. I mean, for around $10,000, you cannot ask for much more, in my opinion. You just cannot. I mean, off the top of my head, I cannot think of a better deal. If you guys can think of something better, leave it in the comments. But I've done cross shopping with Genesis, Coupes, Mustangs, Camaros, 350Zs, everything like that for around that price. Even like the FRS and GT86 and what have you, the Hyundai Genesis Coupe still has a significantly better interior than those two. And it's like, all of those are around $10,000 cars. Granted, for the Mustang and Camaro, you have to get the early 2010 ones for that price, but if you want a nice, sleek-looking car with a sweet interior and relatively nice sounding exhaust, the Hyundai Genesis Coupe is the way to go. And as I'm kind of talking out of my ass here, as I do with almost every video, I'm actually not going to have many honorable mentions this time. But I 100% appreciate everybody who's come to watch this video. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe would I just caught myself there. A like and subscribe would really help out the channel and make it to where I get closer to my goal of becoming a full-fledged car enthusiast, car YouTuber, whatever you want to call me. That being said, though, I appreciate it. Go watch my previous videos if you would be so kind. And yeah, catch you guys later.